Hello, I'm Khalil Rouhana. I would have liked really to be with you today in Silicon Valley, enjoying the nice weather and I'm sure the nice talks and dialogues and discussions in the conference. But unfortunately, I will not be able to be there. And I'm very happy to be able, though, to pass some messages to you on our policies, on our priorities in Europe regarding digital technologies, their applications across the economy and society. And let me start by saying that digital policies are today high on the political agenda in Europe. For those of you who are familiar with the European institutions, the new Commission, the College of Commissioners, which is the executive body of the European Union, has put digital policies as one of the 10 key priorities for its mandate for the next 5 years. And in fact, the first big policy initiative that will come from this Commission will be on digital policies. It will be about the digital single market. Well, that's one of the things that will come out, one of the policy priorities that will come out. And the other policy priorities that is linked also to the digital agenda is about the digitization of our industry, the digitization of our economy. The two are interlinked. One is more about creating a single market for digital business across Europe. And the other is about preparing our industry to be able to benefit from digital opportunities as they emerge. Let me go through each one of them very quickly. The digital single market. Today in Europe, if a business wants to create an online, for example, an online service, it will have difficulties to create it and diffuse it and apply it all across Europe. Because we have different laws, etc. So although the European Union is one of the world's largest digital market, it's around 30% of the world market is in Europe, it is fragmented. You have 28 member states and each of them has its own laws, etc. So a big priority for the European Union now is making that market one market. We call it a digital single market. So the new strategy announced on the 6th of May will include all what we think is important to do in order to make that market one market. And this goes from legislations on data protection that are different, legislation on the telecom infrastructure that are different. That includes also legislation on copyright law, on e-commerce, so online business. All these will be part of the strategy, how to make the European Union a single market for digital technology. We think it's essential to enable any business in Europe to develop a service or a product and be able to benefit from the whole EU market, to be able to grow and develop its business. It's important for European businesses, but it's also important for all international businesses to benefit from that large market. We hope that that would also improve the attractiveness of Europe to businesses, to investments from across the world. Now that's the market and the digital single market. In parallel to that, our big initiative is about the digitization of all our economy. We call it digitization of our industry. In Germany, we call it Industry 4.0. In the Netherlands, we call it smart industry. And we're having now a European framework for the digitization of that industry. And that is about enabling any business in Europe, wherever it is, or whatever it deals with, to benefit from digital innovations. And this is digital innovations and high added value products. So this is where ICT inside all types of products and services. It's not only in digital goods as we know them today. That's important, of course, the smartphones or the tablets. It's about embedding ICT in all types of products, from furniture to cloth to cars to planes, etc. Now that's innovation in products, but also what we're looking at is innovation in processes, how to improve our business processes and how to improve our manufacturing and production processes. We go from cradle to grave, from the idea of a new business to the design of a product or a service, to its production, its manufacturing, and up to the commercialization and its follow-up maintenance of a product or the development of a service that goes with it. And it's also about innovation in business models. We think this is the major transformations that are happening when it comes to business models, with, of course, the blurring of boundaries between products and services, what digital innovations enable, the sharing economy, and the changes and the value capturing across the whole innovation and production chain. So the transformations in business models. And what we want is that any business in Europe, wherever it is located, can make the best out of digital technologies to innovate in products, processes, and business models. And for that, we have 4 tracks of actions that are important for us, 4 lines of activities that we are working on. One is about enabling access to technology to any business in Europe, enabling access to the knowledge and skills. We want that any industry, wherever it's situated, be it in food industry, be it in construction, any textile, whatever, it can have access immediately to the knowledge that will enable it to modernize its products, modernize its processes, modernize its business models. And that's based on the presence of competence centers, what we call them innovation hubs. What we want is that any place you are in Europe, you can have access very quickly to innovation, digital innovation hubs that will give you all what you need to test new technologies, to help you develop, to help you also get new ideas of how can you process, how can you use or make the best of digital technologies. That's digital innovation hubs, access to technology, what we call the bottom-up innovation could come from any industry in Europe. We think that the next digital champions, a lot of them would come from non-tech industries that we know today, would come from other sectors. This is with innovation inside and products, etc., and services. That's one track, access, digital innovation hubs, and bottom-up innovation. The second track is about the industrial presence in digital technologies itself. It's about Europe mastering the platforms, the digital platforms of the future. Digital platforms of the future, those that will be, in fact, in our homes, digital platforms that will be in our cars, the digital platforms that will be in our schools, in our cities. And we think that these are essential for building a new application, new services, and capturing value from innovations that come from products, processes, or from business models. And that's work that needs to be done on research, development, innovation, on testing, and on standardization, on interoperability to enable these platforms to be available to all industries without being locked in particular technology, and be interoperable, because we're talking about systems of systems. I think you are the community who knows about this. Systems of systems, and interconnection between different products. So this is about Europe being able to capture the innovations of value coming from the converging trends in digital technologies, being big data, the cloud, Internet of Things, so smart connected objects that we see developing, but also in autonomous systems and robotics, and all the development that is happening on components and cyber-physical systems. We think that this development, i.e., digital technologies out of the box, digital technologies in all types of products and services, are for us a big opportunity. Europe is still very good in developing complex, safe, reliable, well-engineered products and services. And that is a huge opportunity for us to be able to capture these value that is coming from digital technologies inside all types of products and services. But for that, we need to be able to be contributing with the weight that we can bring from a large economy like Europe to development of the next generation of digital platforms. This is about cyber-physical systems. This is about microsystems and air connection to the internet. I think you are the community who understands this. And in order to be able to do that, we have built partnerships with industry, with academia, in all the areas that we think are critical. We have a very large partnership that we have with industry, and with contribution from the member states of the Union, contribution that comes directly from the European Commission, to a large partnership with a roadmap on how can Europe build these platforms of the future, and in the areas that go from the microelectronics up to the embedded systems and software. This is a key asset for Europe. You know, Europe is very good in embedded systems. We have more than a third of the world production of embedded software and the systems that go with it that come from Europe. This is because we're good in building cars, trains, planes, etc. And we're building this partnership in order to be able to seize and build on our strength and seize the opportunities that come from mainstreaming ICT across all businesses. This is a partnership that goes from microelectronics up to the embedded software and cyber physical systems and the connection with big data and the internet. This is a partnership where we are putting 1.2 billion euros for 6 years from the Commission, 1.2 billion euros that come from the various member states, and almost the double of that coming from industry. So we're talking about a partnership with 5 billion euros of investments in building next generation platforms, from the component up to the embedded software, and the next for the cyber physical systems of the future. This is one of the partnerships we're building, but we have a partnership also on 5G. So we're building the 5th generation of mobile. We have a partnership on big data. We talk about analytics and how to make sure we capture all the value from data. We have a similar partnership also on robotics and autonomous systems, because we think it's important, one on photonics. So to tell you that we work in partnership, we fix roadmap with industry and the academic community, and we engage together with industry in supporting the development of the technology and being able to come up with products that industry, with platforms that industry across the board can use. That's the second track of activities that we're doing on digitization that complements the bottom-up innovation that comes from the innovation hubs. The third one is about preparing our skills, our workforce for the future. And the fourth is about adapting our digital legislative framework to be able to make the best out of the new technologies that come. This is about looking at liability of these autonomous systems that are developing. These are about looking at the safety as robots and humans work together in the workplace or at home, etc. So, a first trend on access to the technology on bottom-up innovation hub, a second around the platforms with all the partnerships that we're building, a third on the skills, a fourth on adapting our legislative framework that complements our work on the demand and come with the digital single market that I mentioned before. And that's what we're doing on digitization of our industry. But we're doing that, and we're not. The aim is not to build a fortress Europe, of course. We would like to build that together with the other. And there are many aspects where international cooperation are essential. I mean, the issues on liability, the issues on data protection, we know how important to address it at international level, as well as, of course, the cooperation in science and technology for the future. We're open, and we have programs for international cooperation with the US, with China, with Japan, with Brazil, etc. So we're open to international cooperation. We think many of the issues that we address really need a cooperation, a dialogue across continents. So that's what we're doing, and we hope that with that we'll make Europe a very good place to invest, a very good place to develop the new technology, and that our citizens and our businesses can benefit from. Thank you very much.